and there's the report. Where he has 4,000 followers.
So it was like nice,
We're good, Eric? Okay.
you know.
No, I don't remember.
The New Jersey Public's Meeting Law was enacted to ensure the right of the public to have advance notice of and to attend the meetings of public bodies at which any businesses affecting their interest is discussed or acted upon. In accordance with the provision of this act, the Belvidere Board of Education has caused notice of this meeting to be published by having the date, time, and place thereof posted with the Star Ledger and the Express Times, and submitted to the town clerk of the town of Belvidere on January 15th, 2025. The meeting will be live streamed at www.belvideresd.org. Flag salute, please.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
The mission of the Belvidere School District is to celebrate our past and empower our future while focusing on our four cornerstones of our district: tradition, excellence, academics, and community. We strive to build confidence and promote collaboration. We encourage an equal partnership with our students and staff as well as its community members. We empower everyone to develop the best versions of themselves. The Belvidere School District is committed to shaping students into global citizens who take initiative for their success and contribute to the continued excellence of the district. Our students are leaders in the decision-making process of their education and will be prepared to excel in a 21st century society. Roll call, please.
Mr. Blum? Mrs. Cerbone?
Here.
Dr. Zeppeth?
Here.
Mrs. Duckworth?
Here.
Mr. Scott? Mrs. Steffen?
Here.
Ms. Walton?
Here.
Mrs. Wenner?
Here.
Ms. White?
Here.
Mr. Ciccarelli?
Here.
Mrs. Gardella?
Here.
Mrs. Robotham?
Here. Okay, perfect. Okay, so we're on to committee reports, which we only had two of our committees recently. Any questions about any notes that came out or? Okay. All right, so we're going to move right on to our student board representative and let her do hers, so she's not stuck here all night.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Hannah Labib. I am here as the Belvidere High School student representative. I have some information about upcoming events from our faculty and advisors that they would like to share. First, for music and drama, the Drama Club is performing their fall play, Alice in Wonderland, on Saturday, November 1st at 1:30 p.m. Tickets will be available at the door, $10 for adults and $5 for students and seniors. Belvidere High School will be having our annual Veterans program on Wednesday, November 5th, with over 40 veterans and active duty folk coming. FEA this month has 10 students who will be helping in classrooms during the Halloween festivities on Friday. There is also a group of 5 students who will be running a program for those students who do not celebrate Halloween. These students have come up with a plan focusing on fall activities and science and will be implementing it during the parade and party time. Next, Leo Club has been doing free face painting at all of the home football games. They will be having their induction and officer ceremony and dinner on November 11th at the Harmony Firehouse. Last weekend, Leo's helped set up Quilt Show at Belvidere High School. Some of their upcoming Leo Club events are the Lions Club Halloween Parade on October 29th, Walking for the Lions Club to Cure Diabetes on November 15th, Raking Yards in the town of Belvidere on November 26th, and on December 5th, the seniors have a trip to bake and decorate cookies with the residents at Mira V. On December 7th, the Leos will be assisting the Harmony Lions Club at their annual Christmas party. And finally, Miss Larney's Spanish 2 honors class will be joining Miss Prislak's classroom and making a Day of the Dead craft with her students. Thank you.
Great. Thank you very much, Hannah. Yep. Okay. All right, so we are going to do the testing presentation then. Okay.
Now I got it. All right. Good evening, everybody. So this is our annual testing presentation with the NJSLA, SAT, AP, PSAT results from last school year. So this presentation just gives an overview of all of the testing that we do, standardized and state testing that takes place throughout the year, including the NJSLA. For last year, it was students in grade 9, and then students in grade 11, they take the NJGPA, which is their annual graduation test. And then for those upperclassmen who take the SAT and the AP, and then we have 10th and 11th graders who take the PSAT here at Belvidere High School. This hasn't really changed in previous years. We have the current laws governing the assessment, so it is they are federal requirements. They are also state requirements. We must assess our students based on these laws. We look at their performance measures, so growth over the years. We do compare, and you'll see in one of my slides, or a couple of slides, where we have comparisons for the grades when they're in grade 3 to grade 4. To see if there are any similarities, changes. And then it is a CUSAC compliance, so we have that as one of our points that the County Department of Ed looks at when they do their CUSAC review. So some of the details, the procedures were pretty similar to 23, 24. Nothing really changed there. In previous years, coming off of COVID, they did change things a little bit, but now that we've gotten back on track, they use the same reporting, administration, and scoring as in 23, 24. They use 5 levels. Level 1, which did not meet expectations, all the way up to level 5. And you can see in parentheses each of the score ranges for those levels. Test duration, they do vary by subject, but it's typically total 2.5 to 3 hours, depending on what test is given on which day. That includes not only the test, but administration, collecting all of the, materials that have to be collected, bathroom breaks, so on and so forth. So here you have the elementary school, the ELA, NJSLA same grade comparison. So the grade 3 students in 2024 achieved a score of 722. And then you can see last year in grade 4, they achieved a score of 723. So they are right on track with what they scored the prior year. And then again, grade 4 to grade 5, very similar also. Grade 5 to grade 6, they obviously went up some points, which was nice. Grade 6, again, similar, and grade 7 to 8, also not too far off from one year to the next. Here you have math. Math was a little different. Grade 3 to grade 4, you can see that they went down a few points. Grade 4 to 5 also. Grade 5 to 6 went up, which was similar to their ELA as well. 6 to 7 also went up. Grade 7 to 8, that's where we saw a bigger drop, and that, we need to go through the specific reports to see what areas they did not succeed well in. And then the algebra students in the 8th grade, so 8th grade algebra students, they were around the same range from 24 to 25. Here you'll have the average scores for ELA, comparing Belvidere to the state, grades 3 all the way through grade 9 and grade 11. You can see that we are below the state average in pretty much all of them. The NJGPA, which is the graduation test, that's very positive to see that they were not that far off the state average. Here are the math scores. You'll see when we get down to Algebra 1, we do a district average because we have Algebra 1 in high school as well as Algebra 1 in 8th grade. They are broken down by groups, but you can see the comparisons there. Again, also lower than the state average, with the exception of the 8th grade Algebra 1 students. They were 5 points higher than the state, and then the geometry students were not that far off from the state. Science, the students are tested in grade 5, 8, and 11 only in science, and you can see that, again, grade 5 and 8 weren't too far off. Grade 11 seems to be a little bit further down compared to the state. Sorry that this is so small, but I tried to get all of it on one slide. These are our AP scores, and I always break it down by the score itself for the students in that particular subject, the number of exams that were taken, the average score in that class, and then the percent of exams with scores of 3 or higher, because that's what we're looking for our students to be able to score at least a 3 or higher. For anybody that doesn't know, many colleges will accept scores of 3 or higher and give students credit for specific courses. So we always like our students to, try to get that minimum score of a 3. The other thing that we do is students who score a 4 or a 5 on their AP exams, we do reimburse them, so that's sort of an incentive for them to try to do the best and get those scores. We do have quite a few that do that every year, so that's a nice thing to see. But you can see we go by the average score based on the particular class, and then obviously we like to look at the scores of 3, 4, and 5 and see how many of those students got the scores in those ranges. We have AP courses in biology, calculus, English language and composition, English literature and composition, environmental science, European history, which is a few years old, psychology, Spanish language and culture, statistics, and U.S. history.
Just a quick question, I forget, do we require the kids to take the exam?
We do.
Okay.
Yes, we
It's
do.
flip-flopped a few times, I wasn't sure where we fell now.
No, one of the requirements to take the AP class is that you must take the exam as well.
Can I ask a quick question
Sure.
too? For the 3 or higher, or actually, out of all those advanced placement scores based on subject, which one of those are online? Are any of them?
No,
Okay.
no, those are all taught in school. And then we have, I love the College Board because they actually give this to us, so I don't have to do all the calculations myself. They give us a 5-year summary, so you can see from 2022 all the way to 2025. We grew a little bit in 2022, dropped a little bit in 23, but now we kind of are steady at that 68, 67% of our students with scores of 3 or higher. And then you can see here it broken down a little bit more by year, the number of students, number of exams that are taken in our school, the number of students with scores of 3 or higher, and then the percentage of AP scores of 3 or higher.
Is there a comparison for the state on where we stand with?
No, because these are global tests, so they don't necessarily have the comparisons of state. We can compare globally, but not necessarily by state. And then here are our SAT scores. So we offer the SAT in school for the juniors that choose to take it. They do, we have a good number of our students typically take it every year. We had 47 testers last year, and the minimum score, the mean score was 1010, compared to the state of New Jersey, which was 888, and compared to US and global, we still were higher than the rest of them, so that was very nice to see as well. I did break it down. They have an evidence-based reading and writing, and they have math. So the evidence-based reading and writing, you'll see here at Belvidere, the mean score was 525 compared to the state, which was 451, compared to US and global, again, higher than the rest of them, which is nice to see. And the same thing in math. So the SAT was very positive. It's good stuff. 485 mean score compared to 437 state and 470 US and global.
What percentage of the number of testers out of juniors and seniors, so that's 47 testers, so out of the total population of juniors and seniors, do we know?
That's 100% juniors.
So 100% of all juniors took the SAT?
Oh, the percent of the class?
Yes.
Probably about 50%. Yeah. We usually, in the past, when we've had bigger classes, it's been about 60%-ish is our number. But since our classes are a little bit smaller, we've had about 50% of the kids.
And then real quick question also, so, which is fantastic to see that the SAT scores are doing so well. But how do you, I guess, what would be the reasoning knowing that some of the state scores are lower, but then the SATs are so much higher?
So the state, you're looking at they're testing them on the New Jersey Student Learning Standards, whereas the state, they're testing them for college preparation. So you're going to have a difference in the test and the types of questions that they're asking. Any other questions?
Or do you have another slide, or do you?
Yeah, I do.
Oh, okay, I'll wait.
That was your question.
No, I'll wait.
That would have been easy.
I'll wait.
Okay, so the PSAT, like I said, we administer it to 10th graders, and we also administered it to the 11th graders. And you can see here with the PSAT, for those of you that don't know, it's the preliminary SAT, it's the practice SAT. So you can see here for our 10th graders, they were also above the New Jersey and national average in both reading, writing, and in math. And then you have your total of 65 students who took it. I break it down by gender and then break it down by how many met both benchmarks, the reading, writing, and the math, and then how many met the reading, writing by itself and the math by itself. And then to the right, you'll see the 11th graders that opted to take the SAT, or the PSAT, I'm sorry. You have 989. You have, again, well over the New Jersey and national score. Same thing with the reading, writing, and the same thing with math. So the SAT and the PSATs were very successful tests for us last year. Now, some support programs that we have for the students at the high school. We have Response to Intervention, which is a multi-tiered system of supports, and it includes the use of academic coaches. So when our students are having difficulty in certain subjects, we assign them an academic coach who kind of helps them through that particular subject, with the idea of having them fly away and not needing the use of the academic coach after however many sessions that they meet. Some of them need them all year, and some of them just need a little kickstart, and then they're good to go. We have our K-12 Media Center, Cedar Studios, where the students, can go down and do some really cool projects with Mrs. Bader. She is teaching a pretty full class load this year, so she's not down in the Media Center available as much, but she is down there, and I know students do still go down and work with her. Again, we have our peer support center where we have peer tutors through National Honor Society and a couple of different other service organizations that we can pair students with in the event that they don't feel comfortable working with a teacher. They might feel more comfortable working with a peer. So we have that opportunity available for them. Our teachers are available twice per week for 15 minutes during lunch to provide extra help. I know there are many teachers during the day that will have their kids come up, and it might even be for the entire period because, the kids need to finish a test, they need the support, they need the tutoring. So the teachers are available during that time as well. And we also instituted a few years ago academic coaches for our student athletes to keep them eligible for sports. At the elementary level, for our K-3, we have the Renaissance Learning, which we use Freckle and Lalilo. In ELA and math, the teachers assign those programs to the students, especially in areas where they might be struggling, to give them that extra support. We also have the RTI academic and behavior coaches down there as well, and then they use a Peek-a-Pack character education program in the classroom. You can see the same thing pretty much goes along with 4 through 5, and then 6 through 8, we do have an online learning program that can support student safety and wellness.
I have a quick question on that. So I know last year, the middle school was a late adopter for the Renaissance Learning, and since there's been changes to that schedule and staffing, has that been resolved or?
I have to check with the middle school teachers to see how much they've been utilizing the Renaissance. I know it's a little different now with the schedule, but I will touch base with them on that. You're welcome. We did have some elective additions at Belvidere High School, so we have now computer applications, social media and digital marketing for business, entrepreneurship, career exploration, advanced PE, sports ethics, woodworking 1, woodworking 2, and nutrition for active teens. I do want to add a little note here. I didn't put it here, but in the middle school, we do have some of these elective options. Mr. Feldman is doing like a career exploration class. He is also doing like a computer applications class with the kids. So during their one of their elective periods, some of the classes he gets to see twice, and he does a couple of different things with them. They do STEM as well with Mr. Feldman during one of their rotations in their specials classes. Oh, I did have it there. How about that? There you go. They have their buddies class where the students do go down and work with the littles. They go and teach a lesson, read a book, and as I walk through the elementary school, you could see the littles' faces light up when they see the big kids coming. We are utilizing our Spanish teacher, Mrs. Larney, for middle school Spanish now. So there is a period where one of the days they go to Spanish, one of the days they'll go to music, one of the days they'll go to art. Mr. Z is doing the middle school music, and Mrs. Knoll is doing the middle school art with them. And in 8th grade, they are required to take personal finance. Mr. Feldman is doing that with them. So areas of focus and overall improvement: to analyze the scores, determine those common themes, the areas of struggle, and the areas of strength for the kids, because we know that some kids do succeed and we want to see how we can assist them with enrichment opportunities. But looking at those scores so that we can get a fine-tune what we're doing here based on the needs of our students. Utilize the Renaissance learning to help them target those skills that they are weaker on, and then utilize the RTI so that we can, again, help those students. With the elementary RTI, what we did was we looked at their scores, and then we gave the RTI teachers the areas that those students needed to focus on. They're going to focus on those skills from about 4 to 6 weeks. We will look at them again in 4 to 6 weeks and see if they've done well. If they have, then we'll move them on to another area that they might need help with. And then we determine the need for academic coaches on an as-needed basis. So when those concerns for students come up and we discuss them in the RTI meetings, we decide if an academic coach is what would be best for that particular student, or is there something else that we can do to assist that student. All right, thank you. You had a question? I know you do.
I do. Okay, 2 questions really quick. What % of high school students, and specifically the seniors, I don't know if you have this, that are taking the remedial math and English for graduation? Do we know that?
The math is a whole lot, the math class is a whole lot bigger this year than our English class. And I want to say when I first put the class together, it was about 30 kids. Percentage?
Oh, of the whole class?
Of the, yes. So 30 out of 80, something like, I think it's like 80 is the senior class. So the English, the remedial English is a whole lot lower than that.
Okay. And then my other question kind of goes in tandem with my last question, but for beyond education, like such as Warren County Community College, do we know if they've started having the new entry students completing the exam to assess their level, and if they need to take a remedial math or English as one of their beginner courses before moving into, like?
So that information, so going into Warren County, when they take those, the entrance.
Remember they had those, that you had to take them if you didn't place at a certain level, and then you could start your actual normal English or math?
They're those non-credit courses that
Yes.
they have to take. We don't get that information from the community colleges. I know we had talked about this in the past.
I didn't know if they, because I thought what was said in the past is that they stopped stopped doing it, but I didn't know if they restarted it.
Well, right, so a lot of colleges are still test optional.
Yeah,
But that's kind of it's a little different than the, taking those placement tests to see what courses they really should be starting in college to prepare them for those college level courses. But we don't necessarily get that information from Warren County. I can reach out to Jeanette Shinstein at Warren County and see if she does have that information, or if she can, pass me on to somebody else who can share that information with me.
that would be a good thing to look for in terms of growth and outcomes.
Absolutely, I agree.
And I can just add that in the curriculum committee meeting for last school year,
Yeah,
we did ask, and I believe Dr. McKinney reached out, and they had no testing as of last year,
okay.
to try to get that.
I'll double check with Jeanette.
I remember
and
that it wasn't, but I thought that they were going to think about bringing it back, so.
Yeah, I'll double check with her and see if they change that, and I'll let you know.
Okay,
Yeah.
thank you.
Any other questions?
Based on the data where most of our kids are not performing at the grade level, are our kids graduating based on passing the state assessment, alternative assessment, or portfolio?
I don't have the specific numbers, but I know the majority of our students pass the test, and that's as they're using their graduation test requirement. Then we have the 30 students or so who will use the portfolio. In the meantime, though, if they take the SAT, they have an opportunity to take the NJSLA again in the fall. If they get the passing score, then we can take them out of the portfolio. The state did change their requirements also, that they took the ASVAB test away, but now they say that if they take the ASVAB test, we can do a streamlined portfolio for them, so they don't have to do as many pieces of the portfolio. So that's something different that we can look at this year. I know we have one student that did that for this current senior year, but I would say the majority of our students have the graduation test as their, is what we can use to help to get to input that, showing that they passed that. And then we have a smaller percentage that are in the portfolio, and then we usually have nobody else. It's either or. It's either they've passed the graduation test or they've passed an SAT, a PSAT. I forgot, they use AccuPlacer, which is one of the entrance exams. So the majority of students will be graduation tests, SAT, PSAT, and then you have a smaller percentage that use the portfolio.
Is it broken down how many actually pass like the NJGPA versus using the alternate means through the PSAT, SAT, or AccuPlacer?
We haven't broken it down in the past that way, but it's something that we can look at moving forward.
Just I got one more. Do you have any idea how many students take advantage of the dual enrollment?
Off the top of my head, no. I can look at that and let you know. We're lucky, we have a lot of dual enrollment classes for, the size of Belvidere. But Jeanette is wonderful, and she will always tell us, hey, you're running this class. This class can be dual enrollment. Have your teachers put in for it, because why not get, dual enrollment credit for the kids? But we do have a lot of kids that are enrolled in our dual enrollment classes. I can get that number for you as well.
It doesn't have to be exact, just a ballpark.
Yeah, I can calculate it, because we have it set aside in Genesis, all of our dual enrollment classes, so I can just look at that, look at the rosters, and get you the number for that.
What? I didn't. No.
No.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Dr. McKinney.
Thank you.
All right, so executive session now? We're looking at, okay. Okay, so now we're going to move to executive session. I need a motion for executive session.
Motion.
Second.
All right. The Board of Education of the Belvidere School District in County of Warren will adjourn into a closed meeting to discuss the items which fall within an exception of our opening meeting policy and permits the board to have a party discussion, since it details the specific exceptions contained in NJSA 10-4-12B. And we'll be looking at collective bargaining agreements, purchase, lease, or sale of property, of real estate property in public interest could be adversely affected, attorney-client privileges, personnel, employment matters affecting specific prospective or current employees. And that's our list for this evening. So we will be looking to re-adjourn in approximately 45 minutes to an hour. We'll do our best. Any discussion held by the board which need not remain confidential will be made public as soon as practicable. Minutes of the private session will not be disclosed until the need for confidentiality no longer exists. All appropriate persons who may be discussed in private session have been adequately notified. The board will reconvene in public session at the conclusion of the closed session in approximately the 45 minutes to an hour. Can I have all in favor of moving? We got
no, Karen
it.
got a second.
You had it. Yeah. All in favor of going into executive session? Aye. Any noes? Any abstentions? Okay, so we will return as soon as we can. Huh? Thank you, Eric. Okay, so we are on to public participation. This public sorry, I can't speak. Public participation is on agenda items only. It'll be 3 minutes per speaker, a total of 30 minutes, and there will be a second public participation later on. But agenda items.
For non-agenda items.
Yeah, for non-agenda items. But this one is for agenda items, so if you have anything for agenda items, come on up. Eric, do you have our timer? I don't have one. She's got her. Okay, thank you.
I got a phone.
That's fine.
It's going to be a short question anyway. So, hi, I'm Chippo Chang from the Ridgeview Echo. I emailed you all last night, so good to meet you in person. I had a question about the test results that we had here, and I wish Dr. McKinney were around because this is really a question for her or whoever has direct access to the data. I was chatting with a teacher at Belvidere here. There's clearly a lot that the school is doing really well. Those SAT scores, that's something to be proud of. The thing that concerns me, that I had in my head coming to this meeting, is the results compared to last year, the NJSLA results there in the K through 8 especially. Looking at the NJDOE data, we were looking at maybe 18.8%, I believe, in the 4th grade of ELA and math were levels 4 and 5, which means, hold on, let's do math for a second. 81% of the kids are not meeting grade level expectations in grade 4 ELA and math. That was spring 2024. And meanwhile, in 8th grade math, according to the spreadsheet, at least at NJDOE, I checked it twice to make sure I was seeing it right. There were 0 kids in levels 4 and 5. Which means 100% of the kids were not meeting grade level expectations in math. So I'm seeing it with your SAT scores, you do have kids who do very well, but if I had heard Dr. McKinney correctly, that's only 50% of the kids taking the SAT. So what I am hoping some attention is going towards is those 50% of the kids who are not taking the SAT. How are they doing if 100% of the 8th graders last year weren't doing very well at all? So I don't know if anyone here has access to that information.
This is an opportunity for public comment, so it's not,
Okay.
it's not a given thing. So we appreciate your comment, and if the board is able or feels like they want to respond, they may at the end of the public comment session, or it may be that some people look into it afterwards.
Okay, that makes sense. Then I'll just say that is the question that I would like to raise, that I'm hoping you as the board are thinking about as well, and I'm hoping to talk to Dr. McKinney to dig into that as well.
Thank you very much.
That's it, thank you.
Yep. Any other public participation for agenda items? No? Okay, so we will move on to correspondence then. No correspondence? Okay. And we did our testing presentation, so we are on to our superintendent report.
Can you hear me?
There you go.
Hey. It's okay. I just wanted to say a very big thank you to staff and students. They've been very welcoming since the start of my tenure here on October 9th. It has been very busy, but it has been really good to get to know some of the staff members, some of the students. I am still making my rounds. I, hope to be able to continue to meet everybody individually. It's been a lot of group hellos and all those things because it has been very busy. But, I was very surprised and happy. My first day, there was a welcome breakfast for me down in the elementary school. Students had created posters. I don't know if you got to see before the meeting started, there was a presentation on Loop with just some pictures of different things that students had made for me with the support of staff members, of course. And it was just very heartwarming for me. So thank you to everybody who's been so welcoming. I did actually get a Belvidere guidebook by the second grade, which was very helpful because they are teaching me about the different things in Belvidere and places in Belvidere that I can visit, like the bookstore that came up a few times. So I'm excited about that. Strangely enough, I had actually gotten information about the bookstore from my previous district. Someone was raving about that store, so I am looking forward to going there at some point. I was also able to enjoy the homecoming events, the homecoming hallway decorating contest. It was phenomenal. The students were so engaged, and they did such a great job of representing different time errors and Belvedere during those times. It was just excellent. I also was able to enjoy the homecoming game. I was able to come with my daughter. She enjoyed it. I enjoyed it. We enjoyed the funnel cake. It was very messy, but it was excellent, and I'm looking forward to be able to do many more, attend many more events here in the district. Mr. Duckworth's students this week left a pumpkin flower arrangement for me, which was beautiful. It was also a picture on the presentation. And, I'm just getting to learn about all the beautiful things and the wonderful things that students are doing as fundraisers and different events for the school. But really also, these skills that they're learning to be able to take out into the real world. It's impressive, and the staff is doing an excellent, excellent job of that and supporting that. I am proudly currently displaying that pumpkin arrangement in my office. But it will be coming home with me this weekend because I want to display it at home as well. So thank you to Mr. Duckworth and his students for that. There's going to be an opportunity for me to schedule some community events so that I can meet individuals from the community, parents, groups of students. It's going to take a little bit of time, but I am planning to hopefully get that in the month of November. So just be on the lookout for notices for that. Okay, a few school happenings. New Jersey School Boards Convention was excellent. There were so many wonderful workshops, informational sessions, and networking opportunities. And all of it was geared toward how to best support a district and how to best support the students that are in district, which is great to see, and you get so many great ideas and some innovative ideas to be able to bring back into the schools. This week, I want to thank Dr. McKinney because she was the district test coordinator, and she coordinated the very last-minute NJSLA, NJGPA, New Jersey Student Learning Assessment, Adaptive, and the New Jersey Graduation Proficiency Assessment, Adaptive, which are two new tests that the state has put out to replace the NJSLA, which was the data results that you saw before. These adaptive tests, the fall assessments, are field tests, so the scores themselves won't be looked at or analyzed in a way like the spring assessments would be, but what they were looking to do with these field assessments is to test out the program itself, test out the platform that they're using for the program, give an opportunity for staff and students to get to learn the program so that when we do the formal testing in the spring, we'll be able to manage that hopefully successfully. What I will say, a difference between this new test and the test that the students have taken in previous years is the fact that it is adaptive. What that means is that when a student answers a question, the test may either bring a student to a higher level questioning or perhaps a lower level question dependent on how they answered the test. We don't know yet how that data is going to look. It is a new test compared to what was done previously. I will say it was somewhat of a last-minute announcement to districts across New Jersey. So getting this all together and put together and the scheduling and all the things that go along with it, I am impressed by Dr. McKinney and everything that she was able to get accomplished. Also the staff who were test administrators, also learning the system. So thank you to everybody for for that. We are still in the process of testing. We will have makeup testing that we have to complete, and there's a very short window to do all of that. Congratulations to Ms. Kane, who was awarded a $500 Visions Grant to purchase materials for the One Book, One School project for grades K through 5. The final book chosen, I'm not going to, burst any surprises. She will say all of that, but it was nice to be able to have that supported by a grant for our students. I mentioned before, as you entered, some of the school happenings that were displayed on that presentation. My goal is to be able to do that often and at every board meeting so that you can see what's happening in the schools. So many good things, and we just want to be able to promote that for everybody. Things to look forward to. Hannah did a great job of stating some of them. The Alice in Wonderland play on Saturday. We have a senior veteran program on November 5th. I am looking forward to that. The NJSIAA Girls Soccer Tournament home game is on November 5th as well. We are excited because we are going to have Dr. Juan Garcia, no relation to me, two-time Super Bowl ring recipient for the New York Giants, coming in to speak to our student athletes in the month of November. We're looking forward to that. That is going to be focused on being champions on and off of the field, and it's focusing on mental health for student athletes. College Financial Aid Night, November 18th, and we do have a save a date sent out there for Belvidere and Sending District 7th and 8th grade students to be able to come to our high school electives fair in the month of December. More information is going to be going out to the districts for that. Just want to go back real quick. It has been a very, very busy, is it 3 weeks? 3 weeks?
Probably,
Not
yeah,
even,
yeah.
maybe?
I don't think it's even 3.
Yeah.
Tomorrow, 3 weeks.
Tomorrow,
Tomorrow,
3
3 weeks. It has been very busy. But we also, just a few updates on a few other areas. We do have special ed state monitoring that the district had gone through a couple of years ago. Those results are in, and I'm working with the state to get all of the information that they need just to finish that up. We are looking at a corrective action plan potentially for chronic absenteeism. I will get more information out about that. That has to do with our absenteeism percentage rates. From a school community standpoint, I have many meetings, and I'm meeting lots of great people, which is wonderful. And that's just to start building those relationships with community members. That includes our SRO chief and juvenile police liaison, St. Luke's, which is our partnering for the athletic department, so we're excited about that. We are scheduling monthly roundtable sessions with the sending district superintendents, and that's, again, to build collaboration and just that open communication with them. And our work-family connection, I'm also in the process of scheduling meetings with them. Lots going on in that area. Very busy, but all for really good things, so I'm very excited about that. There is an opportunity for a phone grant that's being provided by the state for the district. The phone grant itself would require us to review the policy for cell phone usage by students. In order to obtain the phone grant, we would be required to update the policy to be a bell-to-bell policy. So we would just need to determine if that's something that we would be willing to consider to potentially put in for the grant.
Want to do questions on that? Any questions on that for Dr. Garcia and what that would entail?
The phone grant, you mean? So bell to bell, meaning, so where do the phones go?
So the grant itself, what that supports is the purchase of, there's little storage units that you can purchase, things where you would put the cell phones from the moment you walk into the building until the moment you leave the building. By you, I mean the students. So they would not have access to the phones throughout the whole school day.
And what was the grant amount again?
$1,588.
And I'm assuming that's to purchase
To
the
purchase those
materials.
devices,
Those
yep.
device storage.
And to do any training that needed to go along with it.
And then could we pilot it, and then if we find that it's, there's limitations to it, then decide not to move forward, or once you have it?
In
you're
order
stuck
to
with
obtain
it?
the grant, you are stating that you are going to, if you're accepting the grant, you are stating that you are going to have a bell-to-bell policy.
Okay,
how
for the long
long?
haul?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Unclear.
And it's a district-wide, K through.
district-wide.
I mean, there's been good studies that have shown this benefited students.
There's other schools that I know in New Jersey that are utilizing the pockets, and from what I've read from the NJSBA newsletter, it's going well. I'm in favor of it.
I support it 100%.
I do too.
Same.
How would that affect children that have a reason to have a phone, medical condition,
If you
monitoring,
have
things
a,
like
that
that?
is the exception to that rule. So if you have a medical condition, something, perhaps, in a special education program, something to that effect, then that is the exception to the rule for the bell-to-bell policy.
If you put in for the grant and then it's decided that it's not something you want to pursue,
Then we
how
would
does that
reject
work?
the grant.
So you could still do that.
So I would,
Do we know what the typical cost of one of the, I mean, is the grant going to cover it in total? Or are these,
Depending on what we purchase.
we
for
could
the
stay within
devices.
the,
Because we would have to have multiple locations.
Correct.
Right.
so I would support applying for the grant and reviewing our cell phone policy in committee. Hopefully we can get that done if we are granted the grant and we have all that information collected before we decide if we want to collect it. We can determine what the limitations are, maybe get some costs on what those packets might be.
At what point do you have to reject or accept it?
They'll give us the timeline for everything. The timeline to submit for the specific grants is this week.
I think my big question would be, how are you monitoring who's putting their phone in a, how do you keep charge of, who's putting their phone in the pocket like they're supposed to,
Well, it
who's
would
not,
be-
who's just says, I didn't bring it today, and,
Right,
you know.
similar to the sort of like a code of conduct situation. But now the current policy, you should be using your phone in the classroom. So if you're found, then there's a process to that, so it would
I think that's, the policy.
Yeah,
Figure that out.
yeah, we could talk about that. in the
Yeah,
policy.
if we decide to accept it. Yeah.
Like it.
Do we need to vote if we're going to apply for it?
I think if there's no one opposed to it, if you want to, it may be cleaner. Have a voice vote, everyone in favor of submitting the application, but not necessarily,
Moving
not necessarily accepting the
grant.
You'll make a
if and
decision
when.
later, but you just submitting the application.
because we might not get it.
Okay, so, doing all in favor, just an all in favor?
High
Yep, that's good.
probability.
So I guess we'd be looking for, do I have to do a motion? Okay, so motion
Motion.
to accept the grant,
No.
or
No,
to
submit.
To apply.
submit
To apply.
for the grant, to apply for the grant.
Motion.
Second.
All in favor of applying for the grant, not accepting, only applying?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any noes? Any abstentions? Okay. Okay. Anything else for your report?
Oh, thank you so much.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Garcia. So we are looking for agenda items now. We will be starting with personnel agenda items. It is 1 through 6, plus you have, what did I do with my paper? Thank you. Plus we have the add-ons of 6A, 6B, and the change to 5. So you should all have that. Can I have a motion for items 1 through 6?
Motion.
I have a question.
I need a second.
Second.
Oh,
I'll
sorry.
second.
Okay. Any questions?
I have one too.
Sorry. So on item number 2, this appears to be, I guess, are we correcting what we approved last month related to this? And why? Is there a need for a correction?
The person has done this job past several years ago, so we went back into files to find out what step to put.
So that wasn't done when the request came originally? Is that what I'm understanding?
Are we talking about number 2?
Number 2?
It's a step correction.
Step correction. Had been done
So last month, we approved the 1, and now we're approving the 4. It's not an additional stipend.
But so we made a mistake in what was submitted to us last month? Is that my understanding? Or did something happen between last month and this month that prompted the step change?
The person came to us and said, pretty sure I did this for some time. Can you go back and check it out?
I got you. Yep. Okay, thank you.
And then when that research was done, found that
Prior.
it had been done.
Is that your question?
That was my
Okay.
I have a question. Under 3, the equipment manager, I thought this was already approved.
Or I had that, or I think we didn't approve the stipend, we approved the
approved the
change
title.
in
The
the
admission,
title.
yeah.
Okay.
The
I
title
had the
change,
same.
the position title.
So okay, then because why is this being approved now? Because this is all spring stuff. And I believe he's already doing the job, right?
Well, the bottom one, that's a year-round position. It's not.
Yes. That's just a change in
Everything else
title
is,
to what we already approved.
but everything else, to your point, is
Is new spring.
spring that
Right.
we're approving now.
But
so-
why wasn't this on the agenda, the stipend last month is, I guess, my question.
It was already approved before. We're just approving the
Title.
title, position title.
Okay, so next.
Change
can
that was
we
requested
separate it
in the
out
last
from
meeting.
Stipend pay, so it's a little more clear in the agenda. So I see what they're saying, like it does say formerly equipment manager, now to be manager of athletics, but it was, sorry, there's a fly. Was just confusing because it is not clear what exactly we're approving, so it just feels like we're approving him again for another
That's what, yeah. I think
Right.
it is.
It's under the spring column,
column.
I guess.
Right.
For the confusion.
Right, and I remember because we talked about the name change,
Oh,
the title
So-
change last,
so this stipend
Fine.
is received not on an annual basis, but on a seasonal basis? So we would have for each sports season, this stipend exists for this person?
that's the confusion,
One
that's what.
That's-
whole year.
Okay.
That's why it's.
That's what I thought, but then when we said no, it was listed under spring.
Mhm.
The head of the column says spring,
Oh,
so this is
Yeah, which is okay for now, but maybe going
Yeah,
forward, we
let's,
can.
Break
Separate
it,
it
just
out.
break it into two
sections.
separate sections.
Thank you for the lead-in on my next question. Is it possible, because we get the stipends, and then when we have the payables we review, we may see equipment, can we start looking at our programs as a holistic cost that girls soccer costs us when you factor in?
We can do that in new business. That's
Oh, okay, thank you,
separate question.
thank you.
Any questions on the agenda items?
None on those.
No? Okay. Can we have a roll call, please, on 1 through 6B?
Mrs. Serbone?
Yes. Yes.
Dr. Zeppet?
Yes.
Mrs. Duckworth?
Yes.
Ms. Steffen?
yes.
Walton?
Yes.
Mrs. Wenner?
Yes.
Ms. White?
Yes.
Mr. Ciccarelli?
Yes.
Mrs. Gardella?
Yes.
Mrs. Robotham?
Yes.
Okay, so we are on to education items 7 through 14A. You have add-on to 12, and then you have 14A. So can I have a motion for items 7 through 14A?
Motion.
Second?
Any questions on any of those items?
I just had a question for number 7. Do we perceive that our test scores at all are going to come up in the CUSAC assessment as an area of district improvement, or?
Based on the scores that we have, I would anticipate that we will need a district improvement plan for that. I mean, we have to wait for the county office to do its process, and they have to provide us those scores. If that were the case, if we score below an 80% in that area, they will instruct us at the end of their part of the monitoring process that we will need a district improvement plan, which would then typically be worked on throughout the summer, early fall, to have for implementation for the following school year.
And I know Chris answered this before, but I can't remember. Have we had a district improvement plan before for CUSAC with our test scores? I feel like we have, but I'm not sure. I'm not 100% sure.
I don't quite remember.
We've had district for CUSAC before. I don't know specifically for that. We've missed it,
For an
a
improvement plan
point
for
here
test
or a
scores.
point there for attendance or, you know, so I don't know specifically for that, but I know since I've been on the board, we've had CUSAC improvement plans.
Okay.
Any other questions, 7 through 14A?
I just had a question on 13, the Dorney trip. Is that an after-school activity, or are they missing class time for that?
Sunday.
It's a Sunday.
it was a
Okay,
weekend.
thank you.
Any other questions?
And that Dorney trip, that's not funded by the school. That's funded by the Booster Club?
Correct.
Correct.
Yeah. Should we be annotating that in these approvals? I mean, to know what is the school actually, what's coming out of the general fund versus what's coming out of Booster? Or is it because it's field trips that's not relevant to that section? I mean, do you know what I'm saying? Like, I
Yeah.
look at it and I'm like, oh my
mark
gosh.
it as a school event
Yes,
versus a Booster
correct.
Club event, or
Yeah.
I don't see why we couldn't moving forward, right?
It's just a matter of liability as opposed to
Right.
liability and cost.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that does bring up a good point, because this is the first Booster Club sponsored event.
Was Booster Club.
I mean, we didn't
Right,
approve.
to
No.
other
be
stuff.
able
Yeah,
to
you're
just
right.
have a
Yeah,
comment
to
that
put
says,
what's
So why are
district
we
funded
doing that?
versus
Yeah.
booster funded. Yeah,
Yeah.
I think we could do that moving forward. I don't see why we can't.
Does that get on the agenda by filling out the activities form for clubs or the fundraiser form or not the fundraiser, but
You're asking
we
why
don't,
it's on the agenda.
I guess
why
my
not?
question is, I don't always, well, maybe that's the problem. Maybe I don't always know what are the booster club activities because it's never identified. So we may have approved others in the past
Yeah.
but not realized it.
Yeah.
Got it. Okay.
Yeah, because it should be going in through administration to be an approved activity,
Right. Okay.
so. Okay, any other questions? Okay, so for education items 7 through 14A, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any noes? Any abstentions? Okay. Okay, business items 15 through 22. Can I have a motion on 15 through 22?
Motion.
Second.
Any questions on 15 through 22?
No, you go first. I gotta find my paper.
Okay, I just have a question, maybe a little bit more of a comment. I noticed that there were, we had a lot of school supplies purchased in the last month, and it was fairly vague on what those supplies are, and I guess maybe this could be addressed, but we have a lot of supplies that are also, you know, there's just a lot of chatter in town about supplies, right? Parents purchase supplies, school purchase supplies, teachers purchase supplies. So I don't know if it's part of the budget of each student or teacher, if we have one, or, but it's always very unclear as to what the supplies are. It's just labeled as supplies. So there were quite a few entries on pages 111, 109, 105, 104. So I just wanted to just kind of ask if we could get a little bit more detail around that and figure out if there's a way that we can maybe determine like a better way
What's
to
being
what's
purchased
what's being purchased, how can we manage it a little bit better, target our lists a little bit better in the beginning of the year, but it's very hard when it just says supplies. And it just seemed a lot for this month in particular.
And do we budget for that, those kind of miscellaneous, one-offs, this, we need that? Is that in a budget?
Each class has a budget.
Each
So that comes out
class.
of their budget, so office supplies?
So this could be like one purchase from Amazon was for 6th grade, and it was just a list of school supplies. That
I'm
kind of,
not sure what
okay.
you're looking at.
It was on, I have one on page 111. Of course, I'm looking at it digitally, so I don't know what that looks like on.
It's from the bill list?
Yes, from the bill list. Most were Amazon, some were from actual school supply companies.
It just depends what the teachers put in, and then the principals review it to see if it's
Well, I'm not,
needed,
again,
and then
I'm,
they have budgets that they,
so I'm just looking for a little bit more detail, I think, in there so that we can kind of understand a little bit more. And then the other question I had was on page 116 around the facilities for the 3rd Street expenditures. I thought it was a little bit confusing, and I wanted a little clarity because it looked like our expenditures in 2022, 2023 was around 10,000, then all the way down to 1,000 for 23, 24, and then 24, 25, 2,300, and then we're projected 20,000 for 25, 26. And based on what we talked about at the last meeting around selling of the 3rd Street, I would have assumed all of the months would, all the years would be steady around that $20,000 mark. So I was wondering if there was, like, what was kind of happening there.
I think for clarity, you're looking at the school facilities annual maintenance budget amount worksheet.
Yes, that's
Because
correct.
I had that same question. There was a substantial fluctuation between the prior year actual expenditures and what we were budgeting for this year, especially if we're not gaining it.
And whatever we might have been doing in 2023, 24, maybe we want to kind of figure out what that was, since it was so much less. So I don't expect an answer, obviously, today, but can we just visit that maybe for next month's meeting? I am.
But going back to the payables, it seemed like there were a high number of voided checks this month. And I didn't see replacement ones listed. So
Yeah.
I was just looking, did something happen? Because I know we've had some lost checks and other things. So just wanted to, will we see these next month as replacement checks or?
sitting on my desk. I had Heidi write out why we had all of them. She did have, some were printer problems. She has a new printer. And some were replacement checks. For example, somebody wanted their middle initial printed on them when it was paid and not without it, so it had to be reissued. I have a list of them sitting on my desk if you want more detail.
So if it was voided, we should see it either somewhere else in this month's payables or next month's.
If it was voided and reissued, or just voided altogether,
Well, there's some there noted, like it's check 264, one ending in 65, voided, check voided on today, 10/29. So, and I didn't see another check payable to them.
to that same vendor.
Yeah. So that's why I was,
You want some of the list, Shelley?
Well, I mean, I have to grab the one
I
on my
know.
desk that has the answers. You want the answers right now?
Any other questions in the meantime?
Do we, Dr. Garcia, do you know what the budgets are for each one of the classrooms, or?
I've been working on figuring out the budgets for all the departments, related costs that we have associated with things. So it is still a work in progress. I do not have it yet.
So you don't have what each classroom is allocated for supplies, what's budgeted?
Not typically by classroom, it's by either department or grade levels, and it's usually bundled into like a kindergarten. But like there's ranges usually. So no, I don't have that list out right now. There's always, something to look at when you're doing budgeting as to how we want to separate that and how we want to do things based on the grade level, based on supplies that would be used at that grade level, the kind of curriculum they're working on. So those are things, moving forward that we will be looking at for the next year, but it's established now. I don't have that memory.
So just as a side note for everybody, remember when we get our agendas and we look at them between Friday and now to try and get some of these questions in via email so that we can have answers in a more timely manner, because I'm sure it's hard to say, check number so-and-so, oh yeah, that was this or that happened
Well,
30 days ago.
I was
I know, I'm
reading on
just
the
saying.
train yesterday, sorry.
I know,
It's
I
go
know,
back
I'm just
season.
saying, even if it's like last night, you send it, then at least they could have a little bit of time, just because it just makes things run smoother. I'm not yelling, I'm not blaming, I'm just reminding everybody, because we have had changed in our ship, but I still think that's really good practice to give everybody as much heads up. And I know we all think about something during the day and it comes up and we go, oh, I meant to send that. Then that's fine. We're all busy and we all have jobs and lives, and I get that. But just so that everybody tries to remember that, so that we can get better answers for us and they have time to look into them when it's something on the agenda and we need to look at it timely.
So on the check register, the first void, they said that it was not received, and that one looks like it was reissued as check number 26952 on page 3 of the checklist. The second one is the one with the middle initial correction. That was voided, and
I wasn't necessarily looking for
I just,
an explanation on all of them, just, was there a thematic issue?
on Six Flags, not received. I see a reissue on here. Jenkinson says a void was requested. The amount was changed.
Yep, that's right after it, yep.
So I think if the question is if we are logging and keeping track, yes, we are.
Yeah, again, it was just concerned if it was because we talked last month about a lost check, were we having that with, having an issue
Is
with
it
the
a
post office?
are we having
Is it-
chronic issues?
Yes.
I mean, there are generally a lot more post office issues with voided checks or with lost checks in the last year or two than I recall ever having before. But looking at the printing issues, I see
That's sufficient. I was
Yeah.
looking for
Yeah.
a thematic issue, not a detail
two
on each
upside
one.
down checks.
Yeah, that would be the printer.
Printer issues,
This is
yeah.
also like another, just a random question, because we've had these checks being lost in the mail. Does our bank charge us a fee to cancel those checks that we've sent and lost in the mail?
We do not get charged for stop payments.
Hey, that's awesome. Okay.
Okay, good. Okay, so any other questions? Wait, I got to get back to my page, sorry. On business items 15 through 22.
I have a question for Shelley. Questions that,
Can you talk in your mic? Because people at home are going to yell. Thank you.
we had questions about school supplies, like an individual teacher would submit and say $324 for school supplies. Would it be possible, Shelley, to put a copy of the invoice there so it shows what they bought?
I mean, we have an entire bill list. It's about this tall.
We used to go through that.
it used to be the process that a member of the finance committee would sign them each individually, but they would want to take them home. The auditors did not want the invoice pile leaving the building because the whole bill box was almost lost. We actually had a box and it had a handle and people took it with them. They didn't like it leaving at all. So then we had a practice of the finance committee, one member would come in district to sign them, but the finance committee wasn't really looking to do that and sit there for a couple hours each month to sign them. So then it was discussed with the auditor and it became that the entire bill list instead was going to be reconciled by the superintendent and then signed. And that's been our most recent practice. And that's actually why I have all these voided check questions already answered, is because Dr. Garcia went through it and asked the same thing. So I already had Heidi go through and explain to me what they were and give me copies of all the voided checks, so that way I would have the answer.
So my understanding of it all would be that staff members are submitting their requests to administrator's approving it, and then in the end, the superintendent is approving the whole list of what the specifics
The
were
superintendent always signs the purchase
Yep.
orders
before
as well
it's,
as me.
Yep.
They get approved by the principal or whoever whoever direct supervisor is. Then they go to me and then I look at it for budget and I put the account coding on it and then they're approved by the superintendent and then they're ordered.
okay.
So is that how the policy's written, right?
Yeah, I don't know, we should look at that.
That's a policy
We have
review.
our old policy book before Strauss Esme took over.
We can talk about that in new business.
Okay,
Yeah.
That just came up.
Okay.
I'll forget by then.
So, you guys are testing me hard tonight. Okay. I'm trying to keep us in order. It's okay. So number 15,
So wait, we're just gonna add that to the policy meeting, right? We're gonna double
we'll
check
talk
that.
about that in new business.
Okay.
We will.
All right.
Business items 15 through 22. Any other questions on those business items? Okay. 15 through 22, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any noes? Any abstentions? Okay. Now, we are on to continuing business.
All right, I'm bringing it up.
Okay.
The life skills room. So I know that you guys had a tour, but we did talk, and I know, Dr. Garcia, you're at a bit of a disadvantage here, but we did talk about showcasing the beginning, the process to the community, kind of as we started, as we were moving through the process and the finished product, so the community could see that we're moving forward on it and actually making headway, and it could create a good buzz for improvement. And I haven't seen any of that anywhere. So I know we're kind of at the tail end, but if we could, I don't know if you have an update on that. Obviously, you've been here for 3 weeks, but.
I did, however.
Oh, okay, cool.
Visit the life skills room because I wanted to get a better understanding. I know that, what the life skills room represents for multiple reasons. So it is something that we are looking at diligently and how to get it moving and progressing a little faster. But also the picture side of it, because I was also curious, do we have something? I was informed that we do have pictures from before. Obviously, we can take pictures right now, and the goal would then be to keep it moving forward and also continue pictures so that everybody could see the progress that's being made in the room. Yes, I'm at a little bit of a disadvantage because I just got here a few weeks ago. But it is something that we're looking at, and my goal would be that by our next meeting, I could at least show you pictures of before and current, and then kind of talk about what we're doing moving forward just to get it going real fast.
That would be great. And then any type of promotion out to the community would also be appreciated.
We were told originally by ESY, then September 1, then October 1, and now we're going into November 1.
So part of my conversation was, what is it that we're looking to have in this room? What do we want it to look like? Because we need to make sure that we have an understanding so that we can plan for what we need to do. They do have very solid things. They've been reaching out to organizations for some donations. And Part of that is also the backside of it with regards to any electrical work or plumbing work or things that would be needed to be able to put those items in that room. We have already started to get some pricing for that, and so as soon as we have that, then we can say we can start the work and get a timeline on that side of it so that we know how long it's going to take those individuals in that room. Based on the information I have right now, I don't see it being open until January.
Is it work that there has to be bids for or anything, or no?
Not right now, no.
Okay.
Not that we
Just
can
wondering,
see.
like,
Oh, I
if that
mean,
was going to slow us down,
We
or, you
could
know.
need quotes, but the bid threshold is 53,000, so.
Okay, so we're good. Okay.
I will pass that along to the family. Matter of fact, I was there tonight. I came here. Ask that question.
Good.
We are on it.
Any other continuing business?
I don't know if this, well, I have one continuing,
Okay.
I'm going back from probably 2 years ago. So I've spoken many times about getting some form of a common app with the sports community and the teams. I know we had talked about, the AD and I don't know if I should say names, we spoke about an app, I guess, that was supposed to be more of a common communication system this year. I don't think that happened, but I do know that there are some communication breakdowns, and we have to get a better system in place for the coaches to be able to communicate with their players. I just know from personal experience, Game App, Team Snap, they're super easy. You can communicate with them. You can get directions to fields. And I just don't know why we're not utilizing these apps at this point, because sometimes the communication comes from the coaches, sometimes it comes from the boosters. We need one specific area where all the communication comes in. And also so that the coaches don't have to text players and things of that nature, which sometimes can get a little bit, muddy as well. So I just want to put that back on the table, that I really would like to take a look and start researching some apps that would be better utilized within the community. I know other schools do them, because I have stepkids in other schools, and they all use apps. So we just have to kind of get up on the times, I think, a little bit with that. And then the other thing is, this is, I guess, continuing, because I talked about our porta potty, one of our recent committee meetings, and I know we have a new vendor, but I think it was after we had a very active school weekend, and then we had a game on that following Monday, and the porta potty was well utilized from the weekend, and it was evident based on the aroma at the game. So if we can maybe look to have the cleaning taken care of after a big full weekend of community events or school events, just so that we don't bump into that again. And that's it.
Okay, any other?
Just to piggyback on that, sorry. Girls basketball does use Team Snap, so we do have that.
That's excellent.
Yeah.
That's nice. That is good to hear.
And soccer, I can speak on girls soccer and girls basketball. Girls soccer, we do have, the Booster Club does email system, and within the school, the coach communicates with the team and parents if we're logged on, but via the Google Classroom. And then team captains communicate with. So there are things happening.
Oh, no, I know there's communication processes in place, but if you have an app, it's just, it's seamless. So I don't have access to Google Classroom. Sometimes I don't get emails, they might go into spam, so things get missed through some of that. So that's why I was saying, if you have an app, everything's right there. Your email goes,
But you can, as a parent, have Google Classroom. I have both my girls right on my phone.
I don't know how to do it.
Your child has to log on. I don't know how to do it. I said, here's my phone, put me on Google Classroom.
Right.
They log themselves in on your thing,
So,
yeah.
yeah, their login, not mine.
I
Right.
just have to
Yeah.
say, considering that October is Cybersecurity Month, that behavior is very frowned upon.
Yeah.
And because you're not supposed to be sharing passwords as a school, so I just have to say that.
Well, I think if we could come up with something that would universally benefit the clubs. I mean, sports gets thrown around a lot, but let's talk about clubs. Let's talk about the other committees that staff members could use from season to season or club to club. Like, might be something because the kids, the parents don't have 5 different apps then.
Right.
you know,
Yeah.
too, I think that would be something that would be beneficial too, so that kind of thing could go. I mean, but we all have emails as parents too and stuff, you know, so could it be as easy as, you know, you do your group emails? I don't know, but I think that's something that
think
is a
part-
conversation for the groups using it too versus us, you know, to see what would benefit them the most, because we don't want to put any more work on, you know, our staff members that are doing these jobs too with the kids. So I think it's a good group conversation for the future.
But I do think Mrs. Wenner raised a good point about we should not be encouraging adults texting teenagers.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And we also have to factor in while it's probably not as applicable for clubs, it would be applicable for athletes who attend Warren Tech, but play here because we are their sending district. So they're not going to have a Belvidere School District email or see the coach in the halls because they're not attending the school, but they are part of the school system.
And even for like game changes or
Right,
field
which-
changes, just like it's quick, real-time updates.
This has been talked about several times at board meetings. So maybe we can circle back and get a little bit more traction on it.
Any other continuing business?
I had a question just about, do we know when our last curriculum meeting was?
September?
Yes, it was September 17th.
Are we, with Dr. Garcia's position, stepping into the role October 9th, will we plan on getting like a more routine cadence of the committee meetings now? Do we have a plan for that yet?
That's completely up to her schedule.
Yes, I would like to streamline that a little bit and change the way it's currently
Formatted?
being run with regards to, I'd prefer to be at every meeting, is the bottom line. So, yes, I have some thoughts about that. Again, I will be sharing them with the board, and then maybe a tentative schedule to see if it works for everybody.
Okay.
We talked about starting with keeping the group committees, you know, where we might be talking about policy and curriculum and whatever the other one is on that at the same time, but individual meetings, not 3 meetings going all at the same time with other administrators.
Okay. And then to tag on to that, a while back, I think it was June, we talked about student achievement. And I think that was discussed in one of the committee meetings. And I just wanted to make sure that we had a clear defined process for recognizing student achievement. And also where we were at with the website and some restructure there, making it more clear, chain of command. I know that has come up actually by several community members as well at our board meeting.
Well, I can confirm that the website is updated to same format, but it is fully updated.
Yes.
It is a work in progress, and because there's so many different pages and everything to look at, that, you know, it's a work in progress, is the bottom line.
I just want to put it on your radar.
Yes,
Thank you.
it's on my radar, for sure.
And the student achievement piece.
Could you clarify what specifically regarding student achievement you're referring to?
So I would defer to
Yeah,
Tyler.
so we had talked about recognizing students, you know, for student achievement, monthly, you know, acknowledgements, kind of.
Homecoming,
Yeah,
sports,
yeah.
A
Valid
class
Victorian.
working on
Yep.
something
Right.
or
You know, just like little monthly certificates or, you know, a picture or just some form of recognition.
Absenteeism.
Right. Just to,
Or are you asking for putting, like, on the website? What format are you looking
Well,
for?
I think that's what we're talking
Yeah.
about. It's like, we need to come up with a more clear defined plan of what
Right.
that would look like.
And it was just really to help the morale of the students also, and just to help them, encourage them to want to do better in certain things and to have a goal, or, have that recognition piece in place so that the students, feel like they're thriving.
Right. And I also think I know we talked about for some of the achievements that we give today, having a very clear rubric of some type that shows why they qualified for what they received. Right now, I think it's a little gray, and I know it was we talked about it back in June about how we could make that a better evaluation process.
And even if it's like social media, I've seen, other schools and parents will share a social media post from their child's school, just basically promoting like, oh, they got student of the month, things like that. And it's, just to kind of get more.
I'm gonna have to go back and look at the releases that we have with regards to posting of student names and all of those things. I don't know where we stand with that,
Yeah.
with,
We don't have
the
to do that
community?
specifically. I'm just saying this is where I got the idea, because I
Yeah.
would see a lot of students being recognized for
Right.
certain achievements, and I thought we should really, do that as well.
yeah.
Yeah, we do have something we sign off in Genesis. Here for
Right.
release.
Yeah,
so-
where you can.
Yeah,
You
but
said
I
that-
think I think we just need to come up with a more formalized process and make
Exactly.
sure that we're recognizing our. Any other continuing business?
I think on that too, one of the thing was the timeline around communication things, right? Because there seemed to be inconsistent practices from year to year, particularly with like top 10 and
Oh,
student
yeah.
athletes
Right,
and stuff.
right. Yeah,
That
the
was,
top
that
10
was
was a
all
big one, yeah.
part of that you had siblings who were both valedictorian or salutatorian. And they had very different experiences between the few years that they were.
Right.
And it created some confusion and concern.
Right, and we did talk about, just to piggyback on policy, getting a policy in place, kind of formalize that as well.
New business?
Now you
can
I
do it.
wrote it down.
Now you can do it.
Hey, Shel, do we have our old policy book? I'll explain why in a second.
How old?
The 2017.
Before we
For
switched.
Strauss Esme.
I mean, it was online.
School
so I'm
boards.
not sure how we. That's Lorette.
All right, see if we
Okay.
it came up with the number of people on a committee, right? And I said, well, our policy is 6 people. We usually put 5. The 6th one can be the president. Committee elects chair. Pulled the policy out, only to find out, oh, no, it's 4. And the president appoints the chair. But 4 should be the right number. So when I went back in my emails to see how we got there, because as you guys are going to start doing, we change policy as we go. Well, apparently in 2017, when we switched from school boards being our houser of our policies and giving us updates, and we switched to Strauss Esme, because school boards dropped the ball on a couple of areas. We switched to a paid service as opposed to a free service. When they transferred our policies over, they didn't transfer our policies. And I found this in an email. They transferred their policies. So what we think, and maybe not you guys so much because you're newer about it, when we think of our policies and what we think's in them, may in fact not be there because it was changed to Strauss Esme's policies, not Belvidere Board of Education policies.
And some of the policies, like numbers like that, are because of percentages, make a quorum.
Right.
But most boards aren't 12.
Right.
We have sending districts, so it's on a 7 or 9 person thing. So that's something I was going to bring up for our retreat next week, is one of the things that maybe could be something as a goal to look at our policy governing the board,
Be nice to have
to
a whole-
update them, because, I mean, the things that are
Yeah.
12 versus 7 is going to
made
make a big
changes, too.
difference.
Of things that came up that we wanted and we needed, and now I know they're not there because we went with Strauss Esme.
Because
And I
it's
didn't
just
realize that at
it's
the
just
time.
a standard.
Right, they just gave us, here's your standard policy. If you want your special stuff in it, oh, you got to go figure it out.
Yeah, they apparently didn't use ours too. That's what we're talking about, doing step by step.
But we don't need,
It's too overwhelming to
Yeah.
do the
but
whole-
even to review it, we wouldn't even know what we're missing. We'd need the old policy to bounce
but
it
you
off.
can.
Yeah, but you could at
But
least review the
things like
policy
that
now
are
to see if
easy.
it works- See if it works.
Yeah,
Correct.
You might look at that one
Yeah.
and say, we want it.
Virginia's on it.
But we need to
Oh,
have
I'm
the
all
old
about
ones.
reading policy.
Yes, I know you are, girl. All right, Any other
So
new
Shelley, you gonna look and
business?
see and let us know if they're anywhere to be found?
Yeah, I'll ask the rep.
All right, I had a policy book years ago, but I know I chucked it.
Now that I'm in the right section.
There
Yes.
were.
Is it possible for us to look at a way where we're looking at programs by cost, right? We get requests for stipends for coaches. I saw in our payables this month, there are scheduler fees, there's equipment in there, but a holistic view, right? Some team got uniforms this month, but I'm not sure who, but I know field hockey got uniforms because that was on a prior payable list that it was theirs. So what does it cost us between coaches, fees for tournaments or races?
Ref fees, scheduling fees, bus
scheduler
fees.
fees. So we can say, this is what it costs us to have girls soccer, boys soccer, wrestling, cross country, golf, and look at the total, because
the
it's hard to
programs.
get a true picture of what that program costs us. Not that I'm saying we want taken away, but then we can also see many of these have boosters. So we know it's like 3% of our budget goes to extracurricular activities. If I'm, say it's $10,000 a year for a particular sport, I'm making that up. Okay, how much of that is funded through school
Boosters.
dollars? And how much is it funded through boosters? And we should have line of sight what it costs us to have that program, right? And some programs, in addition to what their boosters do, they have revenue opportunity, right? That not all have. You don't charge a fee to come to a 4:00 game, but a Friday night football game gets a ticket fee, unless you're watching it on Facebook. Then we've lost that revenue opportunity. So it may cost more, but they may have offsets that.
So we do have an athletic budget, and it is laid out by sport. And it does detail out who's supposed to get uniforms, what their equipment costs, or, so it's a spreadsheet, so there's a tab for every sport. And that's what the athletic director is supposed to utilize when they're approving the purchase orders to be submitted in, whether or not it's in accordance with that budget. The revenue sources that you're referring to is the ticket sales. They actually go right to a revenue line. They don't go to a per sport.
School revenue,
It's
not.
school
School
revenue.
revenue.
Mhm.
And the Booster Club subsidizing, that's all on the Booster Club's books. I think it's the athletic director does collect at certain times the financials from the Booster Clubs just to monitor that.
We
'cause
haven't
that's
seen
been-
those in a long time.
We just submitted.
They did ask us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we just submitted.
We haven't
soccer.
seen them as a board.
Something
We're
we
supposed
worked
to
on
see.
last year, so it might be,
So I
hopefully
don't-
this year it's happening.
I guess these become the questions of, these things are happening. It's
Mhm.
how much of this, if all of it, and how then do you want it presented to the board?
I mean, if there's already a document that lays out that would cover, hey, they know they need this much for equipment, this much for
And
ref,
that's-
schedulers.
The athletic director's job is to prepare
I
the
think,
budget.
but I think where it gets confusing is like an iPad for sports or iPad cover
for away games.
For away games. Well, not every sport is using that iPad cover for an away game unless we're taking it off and giving it to this coach and taking it off and giving it to that coach, right? So it's very confusing when I'm looking at this to say, well, who's using this iPad cover? Is this iPad cover for all of the sports? Is it just for soccer? How? And I mean, I'm spending my weekends reading line for line, and so it's just maybe if the layouts were a little bit better, where it was like, hey, sports, soccer, and then whatever was paid to soccer, and maybe it's nothing.
I think that's your administration's job.
But
I know,
with somebody,
but
I just can't
that's-
see it, and
I
it's
know,
very,
I know,
it's so
but
frustrating
again-
when I look at the line items and I just see something that's so very vague, and I'm like,
And we're being asked to approve those formally. It's not shared as an awareness.
On the recommendation of your administrator, whose job it is to comb through these things. Am I
I
correct?
understand that, but like,
I know. I know,
we are a
but
little oversight, and I kind of would like,
I think these are good topics for our retreat.
awesome. Okay.
I think these are great
If I can
questions.
just take some of the questions from tonight and
Yeah.
wrap them up.
Yep.
When you get the bill list, you want all kinds of detail under each check, not just a couple of words.
Personally, the challenge is, right, there were all these that just said supplies.
Well, and
So-
and some were itemized.
I'm,
and some
yeah,
were
so
just-
I'm gonna tell you how that happens. So I'm not the one that inputs them, but there is somebody's job who inputs the purchase orders into the accounting system. And I can ask that person to put a whole lot more detail.
I don't think we need a whole lot of detail. Like, I don't need a paragraph. I just need soccer.
Third grade?
Supplies, third grade.
Girls soccer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's it.
So, but it said that it was soccer cover for away game?
It says
iPad cover for away
for
games.
away game.
for away game.
But not what,
So it's to cover your iPad so it doesn't get too hot, it doesn't get
Well, who's
wet, it doesn't
iPad?
get broken. Whatever the coach is.
But
what-
it doesn't
yeah.
say, I think Carol and I are of similar minds, is it doesn't say what line, what.
So
I'm
I
just
can-
glad you're
I
protecting the
can
iPad and
ask-
we don't have to buy a new one.
Yeah.
I mean,
I can ask for, we can put additional amounts in there. I'm remiss if I don't say everybody is pulled very thin. So, I mean, you are absolutely welcome to all the detail. So absolutely can have the whole bill pile, it gives you everything. And I will see if we can just beef that up a little bit, if that helps for next month, and see how that goes.
Maybe the answer
plan.
is, though, is like for the Amazon order where it says classroom supplies, it's not necessarily listing or detailing each item that was
Yeah,
ordered,
no.
but just classroom supplies, grade 5, not being
Right,
specific
so I'm
to
saying
the
we
item.
can,
So
we
just
can
keep
beef it
that
up
simple.
and see what you
Yes,
think.
that's simple.
Yeah.
agreed.
And then if that
That
works.
we can do.
Because I don't think any of us wants to read War and Peace either on our volunteer time.
I'm
Or waste
guessing
all the
not.
trees.
Yeah. I just have 2 items, and I promise that they'll be super quick. So, as I mentioned before, I've been going through, a department that I work with is technology, and I have had to do 1 million cybersecurity trainings this month, and they are super, super fun, I can tell you that. But one of the things that came up on the day that I actually was reviewing our packet was PII being sent via email.
What does that stand for?
Personal information.
It's personal identifiable
Identifiable
information.
information.
Thank you.
It would be like your date of birth, your social security,
Got it.
even if it's truncated.
Yeah, and
Okay.
so there is not a ton of that in the packets that we send, but there are some financial things in there I don't think that we should be sending electronically or should be consider sending. So I'm just throwing it out there that we may want to consider a different way to share this information, whether it's just a Google Drive folder, say, hey, the agenda's out, and we can go and download it and look at it ourselves, that we only have access to. We can set up some privacy there. We don't have to put this into place now, but when you go through some of the pages that we get, there is information in there that I think if it was compromised, we could be in some trouble. So I just wanted to throw that out there. And then the other item that I just wanted to bring up, because we have had a mishmash of committee meetings in the last week, is that Tyler and I have been talking a little bit about a high school, middle school mentoring program for athletes to but to help maintain some relationships, but also promote our middle school kids to going to Belvidere because they have formed relationships with the high school athletes. So we tried it out on our own. My 7th grade son had a little bit of a baseball day with Tyler's junior son, and my son came home and said it was the most awesome hour I have ever spent, and you guys should really do that. So if we could put that on the agenda for, I guess, maybe athletics or extracurriculum,
Clubs in
in general,
extracurriculums, yeah.
because I think if we can get them in there, we could it will help boost kids at least to other schools for those kinds of activities.
Okay, any other new business?
can I request that we look at the policy for the PO signing? Instead of bring it up in new business?
Sure. Absolutely. We will put that on the next policy committee.
All right.
Right, Carolyn?
Yes.
You're on it.
I'm on it.
Okay. Any other new business? No? Okay, so public participation number 2, it'll be limited to 3 minutes per speaker, 20 minutes total. And if you have public participation, 30 minutes total. I'm sorry, I can't do math, it's getting late. 3 minutes, 3 minutes per person, 30 minutes per the whole session. Please come up for public participation.
You do the timer.
Can you please state your name and address when you guys come up?
We got a
Please.
timer going here.
Russo Pierre Jr., also known as Malachi Eli King, live at 82 Front Street in Belvidere. My children attends Belvidere Elementary, Hannah, Victoria, and Abigail Pierre. Two of my children are gifted and talented program, and selling and very talented children and intelligent because they take out their parents. My question or want to address is, I think 2 weeks or a week ago, Sunday, there was the Goblin Market took place in this school, which I understand this place of school is, well, we always learned that this was education, a place of safety. But why that this Goblin Fest, or market, mean to say, was taking place in this school? It was where they was teaching queerness and having drag king or queen, but it was kings, which I don't identify or acknowledge that. I call them drag peasants. They were teaching children from this community or anybody outside this community queer book reading at 1 p.m. We was outside protest. I was protesting against this. And I realized when I read the journalists who's here and what they had there were books, ramen noodle wants to become a spaghetti. Now, also there were books were banned was said boys are in blue. Now, if you look up, sorry, I had it on my phone. If you look up the goblin, with the root definition of it is, in Greek definitions, kabalos, or rogue. It's a root word, is in thought derived from an ancient Greek word, and is a type of evil, mischief, and misbehave. And it's also an evil spirit. This in our community is being allowed in our school. I'm not care of the day it was, but it was in our community, in our school. I'm here on behalf of my legacy, my future, my children, my beautiful daughters, who are my butterflies. And the fact that you can allow this wicked agenda, this homosexuality that's coming into our school, which it had an uproar on different those who was okay and those who will say nay to this. I don't understand how this can come into the community in a safe environment in the schools where they're supposed to learn. Now, next year, now you understand that Governor Phil Murphy also explained, and he had passed a legislation and a law where in the curriculum and social studies where homosexual agenda will be a part of it. What is your position on this matter? If this is going to be taking place here.
Excuse me, sir, your 3 minutes are up. So.
That was
Just
3
finish
minutes?
up,
I didn't
yeah.
know. Wow,
They're running them, yep.
shocking.
Is the timer set?
No.
All right, good. All right. My name is Reverend Gregory Quinlan with the Center for Garden State Families. We're located in Parsippany, and my actual address is Washington Borough. I am here on behalf of several parents who contacted me regarding the Goblin Market. I will tell you this, as a minister, I am extremely offended by this act of hate that showed up in the Goblin Market. It looks like Christ's crucified hands cut off on a plate above the cross. This is offensive. Should never have shown up in a public school where taxes are paid. And this school board is responsible for allowing this to be displayed on school property, period. End of discussion. Secondly, I'm someone who left the homosexual lifestyle, and I can tell you there's no science to support anyone being born LGBTQIA-XYZ++++. So the promotion of these ideas, again, is offensive, and it is offensive to many of the people in the community. And many of those people in the community have talked to me about it, including several ministers who minister in this school district. So this is not really going away. We're not done with this issue. We're going to take a hard look at it. And a candidate for a write-in, who I guess calls herself a Democrat, there were several of us here. We had let the police know. We came to pray. All we were doing was praying. She harassed us. She came after us. And as she drove off, she decided to tell me I was number one, but she used the wrong finger, if you get my drift. Okay, I think her last name was Johnson. So I just want to let you know this is what's going on in your school. Frankly, you have no business allowing this goblin market to take place on school property. Thank you.
Any other public participation?
I am going to keep this short. I'm Patricia Christo. I'm on Rutherford Drive. I am a Christian in the neighborhood. Really, really disappointed, disheartened with everybody here that you would allow something like this to take place. It's just disgusting, and yeah, it's not going to go away. We're going to fight for this, so really disappointed in everybody.
Other public participation?
Joe Roth from the Belvidere Town Council and a resident of Belvidere. Well, first I was going to say, tell you about some highway safety, but after what I just heard, I think that's a lot of nonsense. I went to the Goblin Market and walked around and spent some time there, and I didn't see anything as offensive as what people allude to. I did, in fact, ask some people, why don't you come in and look around and learn. Maybe you're right, maybe you're wrong, but give it an opportunity to see what it's all about. And nobody did, but I did, and I walked around, and I wasn't offended. I sat there while the little kids were being read the storybook. There was nothing wrong with that. The drag queen was a local resident, young lady dressed in a man-tailored suit, which is dressed for success when I was back in business. So there's nothing wrong with that. So I don't think the message was wrong at all, and I don't think you have anything to be ashamed of. I think it was a good event. It's the third time in the school. It's probably the fifth or sixth time within the town, and because of the publicity, it drew even more people. So that was kind of good. So I just had to say that. And after I left, there were people outside protesting. And I just had to think, I was listening to watching a little kid sitting down, getting a story read to him. And then I went outside, and there were some little kids carrying pickets about queers. And I was just thinking, who is learning the better lesson? The kids inside or the ones outside carrying placards that they probably don't even understand what they're carrying. So just something for thought as educators. You got to balance this, and let's not run from the issue. So if I go back, can I get another minute on highway safety?
You have a minute left, so go on your safety.
Thank God.
But we're talking now. Go ahead.
So highway safety. Somebody came here a couple of weeks ago to raise the concern about painting in the crosswalks. I mean, it's obviously not your issue, but I did contact our insurance company, and they have no problem with that at all. So we put that issue to bed. Also, on the traffic safety, the town is going to be putting up some transverse rumble strips coming down the street here on Oxford, right down the hill, as another attempt to begin to slow down traffic as it's coming into town.
Awesome.
That's the good news. Bad news is I can't tell you exactly when. We're at the mercy of the contractor because it's a small job, so he's got to kind of figure out when to fit it in. When I find out, I'll let you know, or maybe someday you'll be driving to work and say, ooh, what was that? And then you'll know. We're also going to monitor that and see if it's effective, and if it is, we'll put it in other busy streets around town as well. So, thank you.
Thank you for the good news on the rumble. about the safety?
Not during public participation.
She just wanted to ask a question. Joe. Robin,
that's
wanted-
up to
is that,
you.
he's okay with, if you want to,
Joe, I just had a question about, will there be, there'll be signage for the upcoming rumble strip, like a speed bump ahead or
Oh, yeah,
rumble strip ahead or
whatever-
something?
whatever
Just so that we don't have
required.
box trucks going airborne?
I'm sorry.
Like those box trucks, they're the ones I'm worried about.
Yeah, no. Yeah, it
They
has,
fly through
all
here.
the proper signage that
Perfect.
requires will be there. And also, they're a little bit noisy, so we'll try to find like a no man's land coming down the hill, not in front of somebody's house. And they're not cut into the highway. They use a thermoplastic now and just make little ridges. And in
Thank you.
fact, the state uses them on 46 if you go out by the other side of Hackettstown. So.
thank you.
Thanks, Joe.
Any other public participation?
Is there anywhere I could speak again, or is it one time?
It's up to the board. Yeah, policy says one time. Policy says one time is I'm sorry. No other public comment? No? All right, then public participation is closed. We are going to add executive session for personnel that we did not get to before. Can I have a motion for executive session for personnel?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any noes? Any abstentions? Okay, so action will not be taken. Let me get back to my thing to read it. The Board of Education of the Public School District of County of Warren will adjourn into closed meeting to discuss the item of personnel, which falls within the exception of our open meeting policy and permits the board to have a private discussion since it deals with specific exceptions contained in NJSA 10-4-12B. Any discussion held by the board which not remain confidential will be made public as soon as practicable. Minutes of the private session will not be disclosed until the need for confidentiality no longer exists. All appropriate persons who may be discussed in private session have been adequately notified. The board will reconvene in public session at the conclusion of the closed session in approximately 30 minutes, but again, no action will be taken when we come back. Okay? Thank you very much.